haven't been filming, but I got these extra 2 steps. They're quite large now, more like a landing because of the slope. Because as you can see, I am digging a fair way into the ground in those areas. Pulled that tread up so that I can get access to the whole space. I've been packing up with dirt and tamping that all down. Again, I've got hook sections where the concrete can go down there to kind of make a raft type thing where it's deeper at the sides. Same thing there, a little bit into the back here. This one here, these are pretty much done. This one I think is close to done. I'd need to pack down the front a bit more so concrete doesn't spill through. But I'm not going to do that one yet. We've been thinking that when it comes to concreting, I'll do that one, this one. Leave this one because I've still got to do digging underneath when I'm doing the next step, which shouldn't be too many more. Finally back in the workshop. Just had year 11, first time in the workshop here. They've cleaned up well. Look at that. First introduction to drop saw, general idea around the room, and got them using hand tools for the first time just for some practice before they do their assessment. And had 13 in the room and they work pretty well. It's good to be back in here. Wednesday morning and heading in just a little bit earlier. I've been going in earlier this year so far to try and make sure that I'm at work well ahead of muster, get myself settled. You don't feel as rushed. That's one of the things that really does bug me when I run late. You never seem to settle for the day. I put my name forward to be part of the finance committee, which I've been every year, but they asked again. Our first meeting was decided by popular vote to be first thing this morning. I didn't vote for this time frame. We'll find out how much money the school does or doesn't have, what we can possibly spend on. We were asked to put through wish lists at the end of last year. I had put forward some things setting up the senior workshop because at the moment I've had to move the 2 year 12, the 11 and 12 classes back out of it because it's not set up. There's quite a lot of hand tools that need to go in there. I do have some around in the storerooms. Gather all those together and get them into the room so I can kind of set the room up better, because at the moment it's got mostly metalwork tools in there because it used to be a metal room. I've only got one dust extractor in there, one mobile dust extractor, which I'll be able to use for the bandsaw and the disc sander because they're close by. But I definitely need one for the table saw. Until that happens, I can't really use the room. Maybe I might just have to purchase it out of faculty funds and seek reimbursement later, something like that. A single dust extractor, I think, is $1,300 to $1,500. I had been told to price up everything that I think I would need for the room and bring that to the meeting. And in between, I was told that, and now the boss told us that our student numbers were actually a lot lower than anticipated, so much so that we could possibly lose 3 to 4 teachers. He doesn't want to do that. As soon as the boss started making that announcement to the exec or the leadership meeting, I'm not going to get the equipment for that room. It's Thursday, no mask. First person in this room for days. I just came over to bring the vests back to the room because I got our kitchen assistant to wash them the other day. And I thought I'm going to go through that year 12 cupboard and clear it out so that I've got room for the year 11 stuff. Managed to reclaim all of this material from out of there, plus a whole stack of bench hooks. Now, there's 2 ways so I could look at that. It's like, wow, look at all the stuff I've been able to reclaim. That's really good. The flip side of that, that's all the projects that didn't get completed, didn't get taken home. But most of this here was in the cupboard like that. That's as far as they got. That things weren't assembled. As opposed to like pieces over there. Because we did take a few apart, the ones of those, the little sawhorses. We took apart those that were assembled. But this was all the stuff that was just in the cupboard, not completed. And while it's good for the hip pocket, it's not so good for the mind. I'll get this all stacked away because I've got year 11 this afternoon. We'll go and Beg and do a bit of prac, and I'm going to have a look at what tools I've got for the new workshop because our budgets are pretty tight. After being at the finance meeting yesterday morning, if I want to get that room up and running, I've got to find tools that I've got around the place, and I'll have to use my budget just to buy one dust extractor so I can use the saw. Year 11's lesson done. Cleaned out a bit of the interchangeable signs, so I can just swap those rather than swapping the stuff that's in the cupboard. They're working well, it's good. Good sized group, and they're pretty cooperative right now, so it's looking promising.
Apparently an accident up ahead, so sitting in traffic on the freeway. The position for my replacement woodworking teacher was re-advertised at the start of this term. The ad closed yesterday afternoon, and for the second time around there was no applications. I'm not sure if there's sort of no allure to coming to the school when all we're asking for is a industrial technology and tech mandatory person. I gave the engineering classes that my previous teacher would have been teaching to another staff member in the school to guarantee that the engineering classes were being taught and there was no vocational courses being taught by them. Normally you're looking for people with specialised qualifications, and this time we went, well, we've stripped the specialised qualifications out of the requirements to try and make it easier to get an applicant. And I don't know whether it's like somebody's going, well, that's a really easy job, why would I bother going for that? I'm not going to get challenged, maybe. But yeah, second time round, nobody's applied. So our deputy said they're going to be having a discussion with staffing to see whether we can just get a central appointment. There is a real shortage of TAS teachers. One of the other schools in the college has apparently got 14 unfilled vacancies. 14! 2 or 3 of them are from the TAS faculty. How are they covering those classes? I've been very fortunate that we had another member of staff that was available to be able to pick up the classes, and he's doing a really good job of it. I've been really very thankful for the effort, the attitude and the attention to detail that he's putting towards teaching some brand new classes that are a little bit out of his wheelhouse. But he was very hopeful that somebody was going to be applying for the job because it is out of his wheelhouse.
Just had year 12. Should have had him for a double today, but there was an assembly that they were meant to be the audience for. The second period, we came in here. They're making a picnic bench, and that's the tabletop that they got set out. They've still got to screw in all the middle ones, but they've got the 2 ends and the 2 sides done. Cut the legs, top assembly of the legs. From what's left here, they'll have the seats on both sides and the supports for the seats, the angled supports that go from the legs to the seat. It's meant to go in a park, it's a community project, and I'll have a plaque with the school's name and the students who were involved on it. They're quite pumped, and I've got them first thing Monday. Hopefully we get done. Finished with year 10, I really encourage the kids to work at their own pace. Because of that, almost chasing my own tail the whole time. A million things going on in my head. The kids doing a million different things. But I find I get the best out of the kids in doing that. They become more helpful to each other, just in my experience. Like a hectic lesson for the last lesson on a Friday afternoon. We'll see how the year pans out, won't we? It was good to be back in the workshop with them, even if they were a little all over the place.
Just heading out with the trailer to grab some sand and gravel mix and cement bags from a landscape supplies. Doing the first lot of stairs with just bags of cement, I was using, for the landing, I think I used about 13 bags. Turns out to be prohibitively expensive for a lot of concreting, and you can find that when you buy your sand gravel in bulk and then just buy bags of cement rather than concrete, you can get a lot more done. Means you got to do some actual measuring out when you're mixing, not just squirting water into the concrete mix. It's a much more cost-effective way, and because I'm going to be doing landing, 2 steps and landing, I'm going to see how far a trailer load can get me. But collecting it in the trailer so that I've actually got somewhere to sit it, because I just don't want the sand gravel being dumped off at the top of the block again, because then you've got to deal with it, and with it being at the very top of the block, because that's where they dump it, means that you're going up and down, sort of transferring sand and gravel from one thing to the next. Whereas if I put it in the trailer, I can just bring the trailer down under the carport and set the mixer up next to it and just do all the mixing there and just barrow the concrete across to the stairs as far as I can. About 3/4 of a ton of sand and gravel, which is basically one of their scoops. I haven't covered it because there's enough moisture in the sand for it to be settled in the trailer. I don't intend on really going very fast to get a lot of wind blowing around it. 12 bags of cement. All of that came to $192. $70 and change for the sand and gravel, which will do for quite a few mixes. $10 a bag for each bag of cement, so just under $120 for the cement. Roughly the same price for a bag of concrete. Now, one bag of concrete with added water is basically like two buckets of mixed concrete, maybe 20 litres. When you mix it yourself, a bag of cement, a 4-to-1 mixing ratio, you're looking at closer to 100 litres of concrete. So I just worked out, buying it this way, with the sand, gravel and all the bags, I have got just shy of a ton of dry concrete mix for $190. If I wanted to try and get a dry ton of concrete mix by buying the bags, I would need to buy 50 bags of concrete, which is about $500, about 40% of the price.
Sounds like I've got a busted valve stem. Just need the air in it for today. Some little froglets. They got front and back legs, but they still got a big tail. Here's one that's full frog. Just got no tail in him now. That's so cute.
I like how this has turned out. Even though this bit here and this bit here and that one over there still sort of stay separated, when it does have a decent bit of water in it, all of this has become one constant pond. My forms are ready. That's landing, step, step, landing. That one's not being done yet. Got my Rio in it, and cement mixer and sand and everything's cement in the back of the truck. I'll mix there and just bring it over as far as I can. You hear that? So I've had to rig up a tarp over the stuff. I've still got to do this bottom one, but all of that's coming across, and thunder every time. Really? What this is. ready to go. I'm getting a bit of splash off those stairs there, which is a bit odd. There's nothing coming in here because the dirt's not flowing from it, and the water's all dripping off. Yeah, guys, just coming back over the steps. But I've still got to do this one. That's what that last load is for. I've already started it. And then I've got to do the stenciling. Like the colour's been setting in and I've got to stencil it. Now it's inhaling. Pond is one big pond again. And overflow. Just there. Down there. Down there. Into the watershed. Nothing here. This is still in here. I've moved I had 9 cement bags left. They were all in there getting wet, so I put them on top of the sand and just throwing the tarp over it. Because the wind is so hard that the rain is just blowing in everywhere. Crazy. Hail. Yeah, okay, this is getting ridiculous. This boat lowered the tarp down to try and protect the cement, because after the last hailstorm I had to keep all the hail marks that bounced under the tarp. I just got a feeling that's going to get all really big rain. This is the bottom one. Which is here, because that's the one I've just finished, and the rain is coming straight down, the wind blowing that way, and the water's just pouring down here. Twenty to 7. I'm soaked because I went over there to sort of put the tarp down, and the rain just picked up like crazy while I was out there. It was boiling hot this morning, like so much so that I was sweating in a t-shirt and shorts just walking around. Sheds are open. It's mid-afternoon and I'm just coming out to check on the concrete steps. I've still got the tarp up, and I don't know whether to risk removing it, uncovering it. Well, the colour seems to have stayed. It's firm. It's firm now, so I think I will take the tarp off, but that rain we were getting caused this rippling. My finish is much rougher this time. Looks much more like rock, but yeah, this sort of stuff that I missed last night. I really worked this step, which means that I don't have much of the rippling, and I worked this step really well, but this was the last one, and I had
done the step pretty much like this all over. As you can see it all up there. But we got heavy rain soon after, and it obviously blew in this way. So we've got some real pock-marked rock. Can't win. I've got to get the grinder with the wire wheel to clean this off. All of the timber. Otherwise, I think it looks alright. I'll get that step put on. Okay, just quickly before year 11 gets here, had year 12 an hour or so ago. I worked on this table. They got both of the leg frames put together and finished doing the top. I basically did the rest because it's being picked up on Wednesday, so I want to make sure it's done. Year 11 will be due in a second. Just finished with year 11. They're still doing all their practice joints. They moved the picnic table out for me, so that's outside. They moved the tables around. They're working really well. It's only the third practice lesson, I think. Cooperative and polite. Very safe at the moment, which is good. We haven't started the actual assessment, they're just doing practice. Enjoying having them, it's good. First use of the new track saw too. Just even off these table ends. That's beautiful. Not too loud. Good brake on it. The track is really sticky to the timber, so I didn't have to clamp it. And the first run I did was just to trim off the rubber to the right position. And that's clean as. That's nice. I'll do more of a look at this at another time. Finished with year 9. Sorry. Just finished with year 10. Chaotic still. Got some who they really don't want to continue with the project that they kind of started at the end of last year, and seem to be more motivated if we start something new and the next stuff's going to be on the lathe. So I said, how about I do the demo on the lathe, and while the lathes are being used, they can also make one of those little stools. Not the upholstered one, but the shop stool. So they'll make a mallet and a shop stool. So they're doing something different. They're both, like the shop stool's not that difficult. And they can get some stuff done on the lathe. I'd like to get into some pen turning. I've never done it. We bought the stuff for it last year. So I'd really like to get into that. And I'll see how the kids are, and whether they can go on to that as well. It's been a long day. It's been a very hot day today. Sweltering. And tomorrow's a long 5-period day too, and I've got year 10, the last period again. So we'll see how things go. Sorry for the harsh bright light, buddy. Couldn't see you that well. I'll close up and leave you alone, alright? What day is it? Wednesday. Wednesday morning, I just had year 11 construction, and we're making mallets. Just making them out of pine. They're good enough for beating stuff around on a construction site. Here's our parts. For the kids, it's all more about them working safely. That's what I'm assessing them on, whether they're working safely in the workshop and making sure they've got the right PPE on, that sort of thing. So while they all are taking care of getting the project done right, I'm really looking at how they work rather than what they produce. Today was the real first day of demonstrating how to mark it out and the process of using a jack plane and that sort of thing. 12 timber really coming along well with their planning. I'm hoping we can order their timber soon. Year 9 timber, keep calling them Year 9. Year 10 timber, I did a introduction and demonstration on turning between centers on the lathe, just the basics of setting it up, making sure the tool rest is at the right height, using a gouge, using a skew, using a scraper, turning beads, that sort of stuff, because some of them have finished their upholstered stool and that's what they'll be up to doing. It was a busy day, 5 period on. There's been some changes to the timetables which I've been working on. Reports are coming up and I was helping out with setting those up. But today it's just 11 this morning and I've got year 12 timber again this afternoon. And in between time I'm sure I'm going to be doing a lot of administration. Just catching my breath. The last 2 days have been incredibly hot and humid. Today it's raining on and off and it's hot and humid.
Just stopped at Bunnings on the way to work so I can try and get the particle board for year 12 for their task 5. I can't see it, so I'm going to have to find it. I thought it'd be out here with all the sheet goods. It turns out I'd literally parked in front of it. It was sort of one or half a bay behind me down on the floor, that's why I didn't notice it. The melamine coated particle board for kitchen cabinets. They use 16mm, which is close enough to 5/8 of an inch. When I've bought particle board in the past for like our kitchen, it was 18 to 19mm or 3/4 inch, which is a lot heavier when you're buying a full sheet. I've bought 5 sheets here for the school. The students are going to be working in pairs to build a cabinet each. Like each team requires a full sheet. Now in the task book, it says for them to use 2400 by 595 sheets that you can buy, and they need 2, roughly 40 a sheet. And a full sheet, 2400 by 1200, was only 51.90. So I'm saving $30 this way, but it's heavier to move them around. But just keeping an eye on it because they do flex a bit with them overhanging the back of the ute a bit. The bottom one wanted to flex a little bit more, so that's why I put a strap around just to hold the back of it up. But the whole, I can see the whole lot flexing slightly. And I'm looking around now, and there looks to be a bit of dark clouds closing in. So I'm going to have to unload the ute when I get to the school and get these straight into the storeroom, because I don't have year 12 until later in the day and I can't take a chance of all this particle board getting rained on. Muddy, but more tadpole eggs. I should say frog eggs though.